Okay, now the lady in the back, please.
My question was for Mr. Hosono.
Sorry. Okay, then. The questions were all directed to Mr. Hosono. Okay. Thank you, please.
日本語で失礼します。国民新聞論説委員の藤田と申します。本来の商法左官にですね、すべき質問かと思いますが、私はですね、原子力発電は推進していくべきだと思ってまして、おそらく津波も地震も対策も日本はできると思います。ただですね、非常に不安を感じるのはテロ対策でして、原発につきましてもですね、自衛海上自衛官、自衛隊の艦船は海に展開しています。それはもうおそらく警備してるんでしょう。ただ入り口はですね、お巡りさんがピストル持ってるぐらいでですね、非常に不安を感じるんですが、原子力発電所のテロ対策はいかがでしょうか。
I'm Fccj of the Kokumin newspaper. Perhaps this question should have been directed to Mr. Hosono, but it is about the terrorism measures, anti-terrorism measures at nuclear power plants. I personally believe that Japan should pursue a nuclear policy. I believe that Japan will be able to put into place good countermeasures to deal with earthquakes and tsunamis. However, in regard to anti-terrorism measures, I believe that Japan is perhaps a little bit too lax. I know that on the ocean, the maritime self-defense forces probably have a good setup, but when you go to a nuclear power plant, at the entrance there is only a policeman carrying a pistol. I believe, therefore, that that is not the most secure environment. So can you please tell us about this?
この種のことは説明になじまないということは皆さんよくお分かりだと思いますけれども、9月11日2001年の9月11日のアメリカでの非常に不幸なテロ同時多発テロ以降はですね、日本でもああいうことが起こりうるというふうに考えておりまして、それにふさわしい準備をしているというふうに私は考えております。
As you know, this question is by its very nature not something that I can answer in any great detail. Since 9/11/2001, when this tremendous tragedy occurred in the United States, there has been a recognition within Japan that something of a similar nature could also occur in this country as well. And I believe that adequate measures, appropriate measures, have been taken.
Okay.
Fred Varco, freelance. My question is about monitoring of safety measures. In the minister's statement that we were handed, he says he urges the electric companies to implement safety measures and calls for further responses from each electric company when additional measures are necessary. In the NISA statement, it says, NISA will request each electricity utility to continuously challenge itself to improve the reliability of the emergency safety measures. This sounds like a very weak form of enforcement. And my question is, how can the public be reassured that all safety measures are being implemented, especially in light of the fact that certainly one of the major power companies has, I believe, 29 safety violations at the Fukushima nuclear plant alone. So who's monitoring the people who are meant to be implementing the safety measures?
安全の規制を担当するのは我々NISAでありまして、我々が責任を持って、各発電所のその安全を規制することになっています。
As you know, we at NISA are responsible for ensuring the safety of safety regulations for nuclear power plants, and therefore we are, in other words, we are therefore responsible for ensuring the safety of each nuclear power plant.
確かに過去にこの安全規制に違反することが行われたことはありましたけれども、その度に我々としてはその時点でのベストと思われる、カウンターメジャーをですね作って、安全規制を十分 我々の考え方からは十分なものというふうにやってまいりました。
Yes, as you have pointed out in the past, there have been violations of our safety regulations. We believe that we have made the best effort at each time to create countermeasures to deal with these kinds of violations. In other words, we believe that we have in the past done our best to ensure that safety regulations were the best that they could be.
あと一言言えば特に地震や津波に対しては今回緊急の安全対策ということで、地震や津波によって、たとえその全ての電気が失われ全ての冷却機能が失われても燃料を安全に冷やすことができるような仕組みを各発電所に作ることを確認しております。
If I may add another comment, which is that obviously our emergency safety measures were not adequate enough to deal with an earthquake and tsunami of this magnitude. In other words, we were not adequately prepared for the possibility of losing all power, of losing all cooling systems. And therefore, in order to ensure that nuclear fuel in the future is able to be cooled in a very safe way, we are working with electric power companies to devise new measures.
Yeah, follow up, please.
Thank you for your answer. The answer I'm looking for is about authority. I mean, do you have the authority? Are you ordering these companies to do safety measures or requesting? Was Hamaoka requested to shut down, or according to the minister's statement, ordered to shut down? I'm trying to find out where the buck stops, basically.
我々は法律に基づく命令をする権限に基づいて安全規制を実行しています。
We ensure that safety is secured. In other words, we issue orders regarding safety based on law.
ただ浜岡のことについてのみはこれは浜岡は法律上の安全の要件を満たしておりますけれども、その特別に先ほど細野補佐官が言われたように特別に高い地震や津波の確率のゆえに、政府として、法律に基づかない、停止の要請をしたということです。
But in regard to the Hamaoka plant, they have fulfilled all of their legal obligations, and as Mr. Hosono mentioned earlier, because they present a special case in that the probability of an earthquake and a huge tsunami hitting this power plant is extremely high, the Prime Minister made a decision that was based not on legal justification, but he made a political decision to ask that the power plant be shut down.
Okay, just a follow-up from my side. Do you think that this system is sufficient, or do you think that more authority should be given to the government to really order a power company to close down a nuclear power station, even if there's no, it's not you can't issue an order based on law?
いや我々は今十分に発電所をもし安全が満たされてなければ法律上の命令で止める権限を持っていますのでこれ以上に何か今のところは権限が必要だということはないんじゃないかと思います。
We believe that the law is adequate enough as it is. In other words, if a nuclear power plant is not following safety regulations or is in violation of safety regulations by law, we do have the authority to order them to shut down the reactor or the power plant. So I do not believe any changes need to be made to the law.
I think the stagnant water that's been pooling in the turbine basements and in the trenches outside, this is going to be another major obstacle that you're going to have to overcome. Presumably you already have some idea of what the technology will be used for decontaminating this water. Could you give us any details on that, please? Will Arriva be supplying the main technology? What is it? Will there be individual decontamination devices used for each of the reactors, or will you be using one major decontamination piece of equipment? Thank you.
まず今用意している水の浄化システムは集中廃棄物処理施設に運び入れている高濃度の汚染水を浄化するためにまず作っています。
First of all, the water decontamination facility or system that we are putting into place now is to take care of the very highly contaminated water that has been put into the central waste disposal facility.
それでこのシステムはアレバ社とそれからアメリカのキュリオン社っていうところとのそれぞれが提供するシステムを直列につないだものとそこに塩分を抜く日本製の機械を取り付けたものを基本としています。
Basically, the system uses technology and equipment from Arriva and also Curion, which is a U.S. company. The equipment or facilities, I don't know, are put together in a straight line, and it goes through one's Arriva system and then Curion system, or the other way around, to decontaminate the water. On top of this, we have another piece of equipment, another piece of technology that is Japanese by nature, and that is also part of the system. It is used to desalinate, in other words, to remove the salt from the water.
でこういうシステムによってきれいにした水をタンクに溜めるものと、それからもう一度原子炉に入れて循環させるものとがには分かれます。
And once the contaminated water has gone through this system and is now clean, it will be divided into two kinds of water. Water which will be stored in a tank, and water which will be recirculated into the reactor.
Maybe one last question. Okay, Petra.
Again, could you please elaborate on this fount of strontium? What does it mean? Where does it come from?
ストロンチウムは燃料がかなり高い温度で一部が溶けるぐらいのことになったところから出てきてるんだろうと思います。
First of all, in regard to where it comes from, probably if the fuel rods are exposed to very, very high temperatures or become very, very hot, then probably almost near the melting point, probably it emits strontium.
で現在排出されている量というのは実はストロンチウムというのはなかなか検出に時間がかかるので、セシウムの実はセシウムが検出された時にストロンチウムは大体チェルノブイリの時の経験によるとその 10% ぐらいの割合で放出されることが経験上分かっているので、日本ではセシウムが出た時にその 10% をもうストロンチウムが出るものというふうに考えて安全の基準を作っています。
And in regard to strontium, it is actually very, very difficult to detect strontium levels. It takes a very long time to actually go through the analysis to determine if strontium is in the environment. However, we've learned some lessons from Chernobyl, which is that when you detect levels of cesium, you can probably assume that about 10%, levels of about 10% of the cesium that you find, you will probably be able to find a 10% level of amount of strontium as well.
で実は今回発見されているストロンチウムの量というのはそのセシウムの出ているセシウムの量の 10% と比べるとそれよりは少ない量ですので、そういう意味では もちろんストロンチウムは出ない方がいいんですけれども、今出ている量というのはあまりその大きな量ではないというか、人間の体に大きな害のあるような量ではないと思っています。
In regard to, therefore, the amount of strontium that has been found, compared to the amount of cesium, we see that the amount is very, very low, about 10%. Of course, it would be more ideal if there were no strontium found at all. However, what I would like to say is that the amounts that we are seeing are very small quantities that would not be damaging to human health.
もう少し一言だけ言いますと、ストロンチウムはカルシウムと似た性質を持っているので、人間の骨に、入ってしまって、そこで放射能を出すということが心配されるわけですけれども、今申し上げたように現在の量であればそういったことについてもほとんど心配はないと思っています。
If I may add another comment, which is that strontium is very, very similar to calcium in its properties or characteristics. In other words, it has the tendency to adhere to bone, to work itself into human bones. And once it has worked itself into the bones, it continues to emit radiation for a very long period of time. That is the great worry in regard to strontium. But as I've said earlier, the amounts or levels that we are seeing are not so high to cause worry.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nishiyama. I hope you and Mr. Hosono will come again soon to our club. Thank you very much.